Welcome back, you guys, to a brand new episode of the Travel Times with Laura Reid and Peter. And today we are interviewing none other than Robyn Kimberly. You guys have seen her many times in my travel vlogs. If you follow me on YouTube, she is a wonderful fellow female travel vlogger who makes great videos. She's also a model and just all around a great person. So we're going to be talking to her today about her travel experiences as a solo female traveler and just dive into all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it was a really fun interview. I've met Robyn a bunch of times and I still learn some new stuff about her. I think you guys will really like it. And also there's some cool tips and tricks that she shares for traveling that, even experienced travelers can benefit from. So make sure you keep listening.
This interview is also brought to you by Live More reversible, easy travel clothing, perfect for your suitcase, which, yes, you guys, if you follow me, that is my clothing brand that I launched this year. So as usual, I will leave the linked below in the show notes. I think that's what you do in a podcast. That's what I hear other podcasters say. Show notes? Yeah. It's in the show notes, guys. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, it will be in the description. So this podcast is going to be live on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere that you can find podcasts, along with YouTube as well. We are doing a video podcast. So if you guys are listening to this and you want to see the video that went along with it, head over to my YouTube channel and you guys can check that out there. So without any further ado, let's get this interview started. Welcome, you guys, to episode 1. I'm here joined by my lovely friend Robyn, and she is a fellow female travel vlogger, and we've known each other for how long? Like, when did we first meet?
Oh my God, when we were like 20?
In our 20s, good old university, UBC.
It's all 9 years, yeah.
Yeah. And then we happened to become travel vloggers at the same time, basically. And yeah, now we like travel together, and you're honestly like one of my favorite people to travel with ever. You're so chill and fun.
Aww.
And yeah.
I feel the same about you. It's really hard to like find people who are like on the same wavelength when you're traveling. And I feel like Laura and I are literally just like, we always want to do the same thing. We're always like ready to just like sleep in and not do anything at the same time. And I feel like we're both super easygoing. So it's just like, it's easy.
Totally. And that's rare to find. Like you can't always find someone who's so chill to travel with and is on the same page as you.
Totally. It's like roommates too. If you're going to spend that much time in that close of quarters with someone, you have to be able to, vibe together and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us a little bit about, like, I want to hear how you got started travel vlogging. Like, is this something that you fell into, and is this something you knew you want to do, or like, where did this all start?
So back in the day, before I was a YouTuber, I was a marketing manager at a tech company, and that's sort of like what I'd prepared my whole life to do. I went to business school. I knew I wanted to go marketing. I was like, I'm going to be a marketing director one day at a really big company. Like, this is like my path. And I kind of just had like a quarter life crisis one day, and I was like, I hate my life. And I just started saving, and I knew I saved for like I went full hobo. Like I canceled my phone plan. I tried to live on $2 a day for like I did it for like 10 days, and I would eat ramen noodles twice a day. And like, I did crazy stuff to save money. So I saved up as much money as I could. No one got why I was doing it, by the way. Like that's amazing. One understood. They were like, what is wrong with you? Like that is not normal behavior. But I had such a clear vision. I was like, I don't want to be working corporate anymore. I really want to do my own thing. And my original vision actually for what I wanted to do is I wanted to be a food blogger. So I had this blog called Skinny Bell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I loved it. I actually still refer to it Skinny Bell, and I like still refer to it for recipes today. Like literally at Thanksgiving, I opened up my Thanksgiving post and was like reading them. Like
it was so aesthetic and chic. I remember looking at your blog and being like, wow, this is like, it was so beautiful. Like you did such a good job with it.
Thank you. I loved it. It was so awesome. But yeah, so at the time, when I quit my job, I also will like never forget the feeling of walking out the office for the last time and being like, holy shit, what have I done? Like, this is it. But yeah, so basically I thought I was going to do that, and I started doing that. But then because I was living in the US at the time, could only stay for 6 months, and it was not nearly as easy to get a work visa as like I thought it was going to be. So I had to travel for 6 months a year, and then I just kind of started filming my travels and realized like that's really more where my passion lies. Like the food stuff was awesome. And I still include food in almost every single video that I post because I love it. But yeah, I fell into it that way. Well, I don't want to say I fell into it. I was very intentional with what I was doing, but I fell into like the travel vlogging side. And then when I had decided I wanted to do that, I kind of just went ham. So yeah.
What was your first trip you ever took that you were like, okay, like this is, I want to, because obviously you started in food and then you slowly, and I remember watching your vlogs and you would do a lot of lifestyle stuff in like LA and go around that. But then obviously it slowly started to switch more to travel. And then I remember the Philippines, it completely took off. Like, was there a moment where you're like, okay, yeah, travel is what I'm going to do full time? Oh, also too, we're joined by Dale. Dale is one of my favorite dogs.
He's become famous.
Look,
I think he needs his own Instagram.
He is a beautiful, beautiful pug mutt.
Guys, I'm sorry. Every time I turn on the camera, he like can't resist. He just comes in the I don't know. So the first like big trip I did was 3 months in Costa Rica. And I didn't really realize I was doing travel vlogging at that time. And honestly, my vlogs were so bad. Like I think I need to go and delete them all just because they were terrible. I was trying my best, I was learning. I'd never done it before. So that's always a learning curve. I don't know. I
go back and check them out now.
Yeah, no, I need to delete everything right now. But that one it was a really good trip, but I didn't really like realize that's what I was doing yet. It was when I took my first solo trip to Bali that I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is my purpose here, is to make travel vlogs. And yeah, that's when I like really doubled down on that.
What was it about Bali that made you like kind of change your mindset or commit to it, I guess?
I don't know. It wasn't like when I got there that I changed my mind. I had decided before I went, because I went by myself. My boyfriend at the time, I left him back at home because he had to work. And like, that's a really hard thing to do. Like Laura knows this, like to travel without your significant other for long periods of time. And I went for like, I think almost 2 months. But yeah.
And you've done, obviously, I think what's cool about your story is you've done so much solo female travel. And I really wanted to dig into that because it's not a lot of people can do it. And I think it looks very appealing, but there's amazing ups to it. But then there can also be kind of some sketchy downs because unfortunately the reality of being a woman is you can't always travel by yourself and feel safe. So with like traveling solo for the first time, what was that like for you? Like, was there certain things you did that was like routine safety stuff or...
First trip, I was super nervous. Like I thought going to Bali alone was like the craziest thing ever, but Bali is really safe and it's like
compared to other places, you're like, wow, this is paradise.
Yeah. And like, I was so paranoid, like I really, really researched every single place I went, like to the T before I went there, the Airbnb, making sure there was like a gate outside or whatever. And that trip was honestly fine. Like nothing happened. It was totally safe, of course, because I was in Bali. Like there's a million chicks like me in Bali. It's an incredible
place to go solo travel.
Yeah, it really is because you can feel fairly safe. The only day that I felt a little bit like dodgy is when I took like a 3-hour car ride alone up north to go see Second Pool waterfall.
Oh yeah.
And I was by myself and it's crazy because like, I've never felt this way before until I'm in a foreign country where I don't really speak the language. And then you're alone in a car with a strange man and you're like, my life is in your hands right now. Like it clicks and you're like, oh my God. And if they start saying something that's a little like it makes your spidey senses go off, it's just like, you just got to hope for the best. So.
Yeah. And I feel like you have to be on high alert at all times. It seems like, I don't know, what you've kind of told me a little bit is that you can never really fully relax. And I remember the first time when we started traveling, you said, you're like, it's nice because I can actually relax now. I can have a drink at dinner and not worry, which is so interesting that you can't do that when you're traveling by yourself because you do have to be really aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, it's definitely like when we did our first trip together, I remember you were like, we're 4 women, like alone. And I was like, F it, like this is luxury. I was like, I don't have to worry about anything. It's like, we're fine. Like no one can touch us.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there ever any situations you got into where you're like really, really worried? Like obviously the Second Pool waterfall, you're like, oh, okay. But was there a time when you're like, this could really go either way?
Oh yeah, for sure. And every time I've had something go wrong, there's like, so when I plan trips by myself, especially if I'm going to really remote places, which first off, if you're a solo female traveler, if you're doing that, you really need to prepare. Like, don't just show up somewhere and like hope for the best. Like you need to have someone waiting for you at every checkpoint who's like associated with the hotel. So actually let me start by giving you my like solo travel rules. Anytime I get in a car with someone, unless it's like a short ride, but if I'm going somewhere far, they need to be hired out from the hotel or Airbnb where you're staying, so they have a reason to bring you back. That's like,
it's a good tip.
That's actually a really good tip. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like, sure, you can get a better deal elsewhere. You can probably pay half the price, but like this is guaranteeing your survival.
Yeah.
So that's something I always do. And I also, if I can avoid it, I will not travel at night alone. Because if you're lost and you can't find your hotel, you look weak and it's very obvious. And that really brings an opportunity for like, I don't know, someone who maybe has some not so genuine thoughts to like, you know, take advantage of the situation. And so the only times I've ever had things go wrong is when I've broken those rules. So like I've gone to a super remote place and like first off, or I'll just like rent a scooter and drive like 4 hours into the middle of the jungle by myself. Like not the smartest thing ever.
You're like fun, but not so smart.
Yeah. And like, that's not a good idea. And the only time I've had things go wrong is when I've done stupid things like be alone at night and not know exactly where my hotel is and have someone picking me up from the hotel, or like gone down a dead end road and like be by myself in the middle of nowhere. Like nothing really bad has ever happened. Like, and I feel very blessed for that. But like, yeah, you just like, you got to be careful. I don't know, but that I don't want to make like solo female travel sound unappealing. It just like, you really need to be prepared. That's all.
Definitely. And I think it's important because I feel like people only ever show the good side of travel. And that's very common in the travel community, because typical travel vlogger, you're like, this is amazing. This is wonderful. And we're almost scared to talk about the bad things because we don't want the country to shit on us and say like, oh, you hate this country, da, da, da. And it's like, well, no, because I remember I actually saw this girl's story time where she talked about a really sketchy situation that happened in India, and she got so much hate on that video, and it was really unfortunate because the situation she got herself into was horrible and must have been super traumatizing, but she just got ripped apart from the people.
I think I watched the same one. That was really terrifying.
The video went mega viral, and it talked about these like three guys who basically she had to stay in her hotel room for like 3 days because they were like knocking, like they were harassing her, and like she had
staff at the hotel.
Yeah, it was just it was just kind of a sketchy situation. Obviously, it's not anything against the country; it's just the people. But because it happened in a certain country, it's like if you label that, like the people in the country obviously don't want the place that they live reflected in a bad light. So it's so tough because you never want to like say something bad about a country you love. But I think it's also important to educate people on like, hey, just watch out, like stuff like this does happen.
Totally. And I'm also guilty of that because like one day when I had something like really bad happen to me on my favorite island, literally in the world, I just like, I edited out of the video. I was like, because the day was so good and so incredible otherwise, you know, like it was one of the best days of my life. And then this really unfortunate thing happened. And I was like, I don't want this to taint my awesome video, you know,
totally.
And that's
then
horrible.
People think you're being negative and it's,
Yeah, but that's good. That's good that you've been able to kind of like, you know, see that it's just a string of maybe an unfortunate circumstance, but doesn't cloud your judgment of like the island as a whole or the people there or whatever. Yeah,
totally. Because like, even if you think about like anywhere in the world, most people are good. Like, I truly believe most people are good-hearted. It just takes one person, you know, and you're very like, especially me with like, I'm a ginge, like you don't see gingers that much in a lot of places.
And you're beautiful. So I'm sure that all eyes are on you.
And the camera equipment and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't even think of that. I mean, like from my personal experience, like the camera equipment, things like that, I don't even think about that. But when I do see people traveling with like, you know, big cameras, I'm kind of like,
you need to be careful.
There's like an extra layer of like precaution you got to take into account. Sure.
I heard a really funny story once where it was someone like, I think they were somewhere in Southeast Asia, and there was like the first or second day, and they were taking their iPad out to take a photo, and someone came by on a motorbike, punched them in the stomach, took the iPad and ran. I was like, you almost can't help but laugh because you're like, that's so horrific, but like kind of funny, but also like, oh my God, like that poor person, like punched to the gut and your iPad's gone.
Yeah. I mean, there's an element of like common sense too.
Oh my God. But it's like when we travel, obviously we have a lot of really expensive camera equipment with us. Like between the two of us, like I don't want to say the amount, but like it is like a lot. Like you go buy a car with the amount of equipment we have.
Yeah.
And so I always get really sketched out in some situations. Like I never keep my backpack out of my sight. Like even the safe, I'm like, I don't know. But like, yeah. Do you feel that same way? Or are you like?
Yeah, but to be honest, I only got nice camera equipment like this year.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I literally shot my first like 200 vlogs on a $400 point and shoot.
But that in itself is so impressive. So I also want to ask you about how did you start to like learn how to film and learn how to edit? Because honestly, your videos, especially recently, have been incredible. Like they are so, your Whistler vlogs are so beautiful. Like you could easily put that on TV. And you can let me know. I know the answer to this, but I want you to tell everyone how you started filming and editing.
Okay, well, I literally watched your videos. Like, I'm not joking.
Oh, thank you.
This was
Laura
not
Reid
scripted or planned, by the way.
Hashtag ad. Thank you, Robyn.
Hashtag ad. No, but it's true because Laura's an incredible editor, and like you do lots of tutorials as well. And like I watched your review on like the Canon G7X versus the Canon M50. Is that the one?
Yeah, I put a video up.
Yeah,
That,
I watched your tutorials like on how to edit. I watched your tutorials on how to vlog. Like I literally just watched tutorials and practice. But even if you watch all the tutorials, like you need to just go out there and make movies. Because literally I caught my boyfriend Evan the other day watching one of my first vlogs I made on like a photography camera that was so terrible in LA. And I just was like, oh, Jesus.
But you have to start somewhere. And even and the problem is we're always our own biggest critics. Like you think what you had back, and I'm guilty of that too, but your vlogs back then weren't bad. I was highly entertained by them. One of my most like things I was most impressed by you was your ability, your shameless vlogging in public. Like you will go out and film a vlog by yourself and just like you do not care who's around. My favorite moment I ever saw of you was we were on a beach in the Philippines and because I was there, obviously Lisa was there, my sister, and so she was helping me operate my camera, and you just like went off on like a part of the island, set up your tripod, was doing this like B-roll, was like turning around. I was like, someone needs to like film this because this is the most impressive thing I have ever seen. Like it really, so like
literally I'm like, get my butt closer to the camera.
And you're doing like, it's like not normal B-roll. She's doing like sexy B-roll, like on a bikini. We were on a boat too in the Philippines and I saw you hand your camera to this lady as you're like, can you give me some B-roll? And this like random lady is holding her camera and she's like flipping her hair around. I was like, I could never in a million years do that. And that's why I admire you so much because I'm like, you just like know what it takes to get the shot. Do you
just own it.
Totally.
Never underestimate random ladies.
Yeah. How do you get over that fear of like,
yeah, I don't know. I used to be super nervous when I was filming and I would film like on the trendiest areas in LA, like, Abbot Kinney.
Yeah.
Like I would go film there and like, if you want someone to judge you, go make a vlog on Abbot Kinney. Like that's like the worst place. So like I was really uncomfortable doing it for like the first year. Like it didn't come like right away. I didn't give a shit. But then when I was like more on a mission, like I'm on this trip to like adventure and make videos, like that's my purpose. So I'm going to do what it takes to make it happen. So like literally in Bali, I would be on a crowded ass beach, set up my tripod and like lay, the pose that I do where I lay in the sand. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Tutorial. Like I would be doing that and people are like laughing at me, staring at me. And I'm like, you know what? Like I'm making my dreams happen. So you can think what you want. And I think that's like, to summarize, like the most important thing is like, if you want to do something, like you can't be afraid about like other people giving you judgments. Also, like when you tell your friends and family, like, I'm going to be a YouTuber, I have 40 followers. A lot of people are going to be like, right, that's nice.
Yeah.
Like,
totally. And until you actually make it, people almost like don't believe in you. Like they're like almost like make fun of you. And then when you make it, they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. And you're like, well, where were you when I started, bitch?
Yeah. Where were you when there was 10 views?
I know the true you. Totally. Yeah. But yeah. And I think too now, like YouTube's so much more common. Like back when like no one was doing it, it was like really awkward to start a YouTube channel. Whereas now it's kind of admired. Someone's like, oh, it's sick. That's like really cool.
Yo, you know what I could not believe? I got a new credit card the other day and I could select YouTuber as like my job, my occupation.
Way, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we're progressing. Wow. This is amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, what is this?
That's actually wild though. That's crazy, the progress.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
I was listening to something recently that they were giving advice on like people looking to start into YouTube and they said, make 100 videos, like do 100 videos and learn something after rewatching each video and improve on that on your next one. And he said, if you don't grow after doing that, like, you know, you should probably not continue it. But he said he guarantees you'll progress and grow and you'll have it under your, like a perfect video kind of regimen under your belt by then. I can't remember who did this. I was listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
I feel like 100 is like a lot. Just getting started.
Well, that's the thing. And I think with YouTube, like I always say to people, like, you need to be ready to invest like 5 years into this, maybe before you see results. Like for you, how long was it before you actually started to see your views pick up?
Well, I did it for like 2 years, but not really like full time. Like I was kind of still like blogging before it picked up. So I think like I'd say 1 year, and then it really did pick up, but I don't know. I think like 1 year I went from like 1,000 followers to 40,000 or something.
Yeah, I feel like you grew really quick. And so you had a few viral videos. I mean, I know your Philippine series went mega viral. Did your Bali videos go viral first or what?
I thought I was going viral in Bali. I was like, holy shit, I got 400 views in an hour. Like, nailed it. I literally was like, I'm going viral. I was so happy, you know, like,
yeah.
But that's amazing. You were saying you just kind of, that was your first really diving right in was the Bali trip, right? Yeah, that's awesome.
There was a time when I had videos that didn't even, if they would never reach 100 views, like most of them. So 400 in the first hour was like, I'm famous.
Right. And then when was your first like viral video where you're like a million views? I'm talking
Naked Island. Actually, well, first one that I would consider viral was actually Bali Silent Day. It's not really viral, but I got 50,000 views and my channel had like 2,000 subs, and I got 50,000 views in like 3 days.
Okay. There you go.
And the irony is I was so like not in a good mood that day, and I was like, I hate this video, I'm not going to post it. And then
it's always those vlogs that will then like
always,
get so many views.
And then the other one was Naked Island. That one like really went nuts for me. And I actually went there because of your video. I think you, Haley, and Megan went there.
Yeah, and I remember Haley's video went viral. So it's this like island in the Philippines, Peter, that is like the only reason it's called Naked Island is because there's literally nothing on it. It's sand, but you obviously that's like the best clickbait ever.
Well, I was going to say the title alone, right? Yeah. I would probably just click that out of curiosity. Yeah, like,
definitely
Naked
a bunch of creeps being like, oh wow, or like old men being like.
There was so many people so angry at that video. They're like, fake news, like she didn't get naked. And I was it's YouTube. Like, what were you expecting to see here?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, we're not OnlyFans. Like, I mean, never say
And it's so obvious. I don't know. Like, I just like get a kick out of those comments because I'm like, I genuinely ruined your day by like not genuinely getting naked in a very public place. Like,
right.
Wow.
And I find there's a lot of like creepy men on YouTube. Like, I'm sure you probably get your fair share of creepy comments.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way you can like, do you just like, does it ever bother you? Or are you like, whatever, like?
Not really. Cause like, it's the internet. Like everyone has an avatar and like has like keyboard warrior status, you know?
Totally.
I don't know. It bothers me. Yes. Like, I don't like it when people say like really crass things about me that are untrue, but also like, you know what? Like, I don't know. I would rather those didn't happen, but I'm not going to like lose sleep about it.
But it's, you know? You kind of have to just accept it and be like, all right, well, whatever. So I also wanted to ask you, so you obviously, like, people might not know this, but you used to be a model and you had modeled in, was it Milan? I want to say, I would love to hear like what your experience was at like modeling abroad. Cause that was obviously your first like really like travel experience where you really lived abroad, even though you weren't recording it.
I didn't even know you did that. This is all news.
Well, I mean, look at her. She obviously did something.
Thank you.
She's stunning.
No, that was really hard, to be honest, because I've modeled since I was 15 and I'd worked in Los Angeles, and that was like a really easy fit because I'm very, there's like in modeling, there's two types of girls. There was when I did it. I feel like the industry has changed a lot. So there's the commercial girls and the editorial girls. The editorial girls are like the angry, skinny, you know, dark eyes.
Is that the same as runway?
Yeah, like same vibe, like very like edgy, unique looks, like really, you know, beautiful people with a unique look. And I was definitely more like commercial. And so in Los Angeles and in Vancouver. And I also modeled a lot last year in Montreal and Toronto. Those are my markets. Like I do great there. I book a lot of work. Like I love the clients I work with. It's so much fun. In Milan, my agency, they really need it. It's like you're a product and they want to, you know, get the product they need. They really needed an edgy looking redhead. And so they really marketed me as like an editorial girl. And I would go to these castings with like 300 other women lined up down the streets in Milan. And all of us are there carrying our like heavy ass portfolios, which no one carries anymore because like iPads. And like we're
smart.
we're all just standing there and I'm looking at this line and it's for like top tier brands. And I just like, I know what my market is. It's not good to be like, oh, you can't do it. But like, that's not my market. Like, I'm not going to book this job. Totally. But like you had to wait there.
So I was just going to ask, is this like a casting kind of thing? Like,
like a casting.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So do they all look like you then? They're like tall redheads.
It depends on the job. Like sometimes, but not usually, like, which is kind of annoying because usually if you go to a good casting, everyone kind of looks like you because they know what they want. But these, we call them cattle calls. The castings where there's 300 girls in line and just everyone comes. And sometimes you'll walk up to the front and they look at you and they don't even open your book or whatever. And they just say, no, thank you. And then you have to leave.
You're like, what do I not have that you want?
I mean, I get it. Like you're seeing like 500-600 people in a day and you're like, that ain't it, you know? So, and it's always like the really good brands too, who can like do that.
You almost kind of appreciate being let down kind of quick and early rather than like lingering on, or I don't know. That's how I am anyways.
But I never like, I don't know, like some people are like, was that upsetting to you? Like the rejection, blah, blah, blah. And like my mom did a really good job, like teaching me when I started. So I was basically a child when I started working almost full time, like as a model. She was like, if you ever don't get a job, it's not because of you. Like it has nothing to do with you as a person. Like either they wanted like a brunette who had a certain vibe and you didn't have that. Like, it's not about you. It's just like the look you have is either what they want or they're not. So yeah, but no, Milan was awesome. I miss it.
Totally. Yeah. Honestly, I love Italy. Italy was one, like it has such a good vibe. Like it just like everything, like the fashion is so good. And like aperitivo where you go and have a cocktail in the afternoon.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's just, it's a vibe. Italy is a total vibe.
I need to go back and like not be modeling so I can actually eat.
Right? Oh yeah, I guess that's.
It was horrible, honestly. Like it was so hard. I would have like my tuna and salad, and I'd be like,
yeah, you're like
watching everyone eat pizzas and pastas.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, totally. Oh my God. Yeah. We ate. So when we went to Italy, I was like, I am weighing a lot more leaving than when I was going.
That's how you know you did it right. Like
totally. Yeah.
It's the only way to do it.
I told myself that too.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll get skinny later.
Are you still doing any modeling, Robyn?
I feel really blessed to say this is actually my very first year being completely self-sustained, like with just YouTube.
Small clap.
Awesome. Congrats.
Which is actually like, for people who don't know, that's a really, like I've been doing it for 3 years total now, 2 years full time, I would say. And like, that's a really big deal. It's really hard.
It's like, really hard. Yeah. Especially to get up and running. Like it's because I think a lot of people ask me, I think the biggest question I get asked is like, how do you make money in YouTube? I'm sure it's the same way as you, and trying to explain to people that it's multiple different revenue streams. Obviously there's the AdSense and then brand deals, but then it's like when you're starting, you don't have any of those. And so it's basically like you're working for free. And then, for you, how long was it until you got your first brand deal?
I got my first brand deal only in February this year, and it would drive me nuts because I felt like by the end of last year, I'd really gotten the hang of like editing, and I felt like I was making really good videos, and I was like, why? Like, what, is there something wrong with me? Like, why don't I have any brand deals and everyone else has like all these brand deals? I'm like, what am I doing wrong? But it's just like when you get started, like, you know, when people used to ask me like, oh, like, how do you make money? I would just say, you don't.
It's like, have a second job, maybe put some money away. But if you love doing it, it doesn't feel, because YouTube obviously is, you have to like filming. So then it almost doesn't feel like a job at times, but then again, it does. Like, it's just, I think too, like if someone came on a trip with us and you realize very quickly how much work it is, like my little sisters come on a trip with us, like, and I think the first time you came, even on a trip, you're like, wow, this is like a lot more work than I thought, because a lot of people say, oh, you're always on vacation. And you're like, no.
I hate it when people say that. I hate it so much.
Because like, like try and describe the workflow. Like, what's the best way for you to describe what it's like filming a vlog?
Well, like, I don't know, like basically, okay, so if Laura and I are on a trip together, like we have every single day planned. Sometimes we'll schedule in rest days when we know we're just going to be like totally like, I can't.
We're like, fuck
smile.
this. I'm done.
But like you wake up super early, you put on your makeup, you put on a pretty outfit, or I don't know, I can't really say I do that, but I try.
We try. Wiping away the sweat. I'm like oh God.
I know my face is
Oh yeah, depending the place. Yeah, I guess you got to tend to the elements.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like the upper lip sweat too.
Oh my God, so much upper lip sweat always. Yeah, Southeast Asia is just like dangerous.
But yeah, so basically wake up, put on your makeup. The night before you will have stayed up late and be editing, backing up all your footage from the day before. So you're probably really tired. And then you go out, do the activities for the day, film everything, get the shots. And I always find like I always have fun when I'm filming because I love filming. Like I was a model for 13 years. Like I love shooting. I love filming. Like it's so much fun for me. So the day passes really quick, but I find that sometimes I don't really realize where I was until I watch my video back and I'm like, damn, that was cool.
Well, you're so focused on filming. And I think too, what also people don't realize is that like one shot you get, you're like, that takes you're basically as a YouTuber, you're the full production. Like you're the filmer, you're the editor, you're the audio person, you're the scouter of a location. Like it's just, you're everything in one. And like one vlog, although it might seem like fun and airy, you've planned all that out. We've gone to a specific beach just to get B-roll and then we've left and not all trips are like that. Like trips where it's more of a vacation, you just happen to be filming it are different, but trips where you're going just to get a vlog, like it really is. If people only saw it behind the scenes, they'd be like, oh, this is not a vacation whatsoever.
Well, actually, I was going to ask on that. Like, how do you guys plan out these days and these shoots and the filming and everything? Like, I'm a little bit curious on that because, I think when I go on a trip, I kind of know places I want to go, but structuring a day of filming, I mean, for a lot of listeners probably also are curious, kind of what your mindset is going into that, how early you start planning, what that process looks like.
I don't know what your process is, Laura, but usually when we're doing stuff together, we'll make a Google Doc. And I just do research. I watch other vlogs. Actually, I love watching other people's travel vlogs to get ideas for where to go. Because I love watching travel vlogs. It's the best way to see what something's really like. You can see someone go there and they're like, oh, if it's crowded, it's not And then I just build a list of all the places I want to go. And then sometimes you have to pre-schedule what date, but every day we'll have something.
Yeah. That's cool. I was going to say, I love the travel YouTube community is awesome. Getting travel ideas. Yeah. It's kind of cool to hear that you guys do that too. I mean, that's where I get a lot of my ideas when I'm booking trips. I'll go on YouTube, search the destination, pull up a video like yours or Laura's and, get inspired, I guess, to book some stuff around that.
Totally. Because I think people traditionally looked at blogs. And I mean, I definitely still look at blogs when I'm so say if I'm in Italy and I want to find good places to get gelato, I'll look at a blog because it's quick and easy. But if I have time before a trip and I really want to see what a place looks like, I'll watch a YouTube video 100%.
YouTube is just, I think it's more as much as it's a production, it's also more authentic than a single pretty photo where everyone's photoshopped out all the people in the background or whatever. YouTube, if for example, in Indonesia, love Indonesia, I went to this island in the middle of nowhere, the Komodo Islands. And there's this one island that's very beautiful, right? And everyone's photo I've seen there is them looking, all majestic there and there's no one else around. I got there, I was in a trail of people forever long hiking up this mountain. And I'm like, what the hell? I took a plane, a boat for 6 hours to get here. And all these people are here. So I put it in my vlog. I was like, guys, look, it's so beautiful. But I was like, look at all the people here. It's 5 a.m. And people were like, I really appreciate that because I just think sometimes photos can be not as authentic.
Totally. And I want to touch on that more. I think because that's one thing that totally gets just completely almost mangled. Travel vloggers will take a location and don't get me wrong, it's usually beautiful to start, but it doesn't look anything like their finished photo. And I'm 100% guilty of that. I'm sure you're guilty of that. Because you want to make it look pretty. As a travel photographer, videographer, or whatever, you're trying to sell the dream in a sense. And so you want to make this look as great as possible. So if it means editing out 100 people from the background, you do that.
I do
but
it.
It's so misleading. And that's why it's a hard thing to try and figure out, how much do you edit it? Because you also don't want, there's been so many places I've gone where I've been so disappointed because it's looked nothing like a photo. Is there any place you can think of that's been like that for you, other aside from the Komodo Islands?
I mean, a lot. I will even edit out rocks at the sand. Like,
Right?
I'm like, that's ugly.
Place after a while, you're like,
Yeah, like I'm really OCD about it. But to be honest, I think this is something like I need to work on, because I've had people tell me, like, who I've met recently, they're like, on Instagram, you seem kind of like unapproachable and like not that nice. And they were like, but we watched your videos and you're so relatable. And I was like, I think I need to be like, I don't know, I need to make my Instagrams a little less like, I don't know, aspirational. Is that the right word?
I think they're moving in that direction as well. Like people
Yeah.
want the raw and authentic, and especially with 2020 being so just like everyone, like they just don't want to see a pretty photo anymore. They want to see the real, honest you, because
100%.
everyone's had such a hard time. I mean, even people who are living the life, they've still had a hard time this year. Like there's not one person who hasn't suffered, except maybe the odd person who, Amazon, for example, he's doing great.
Amazon is loving life.
But that being said, it's like basically everyone's like, okay, I'm tired of seeing this perfect thing, because nobody's perfect. And like people are just waking up. We want to get into the spiritual side of things. But people like the Great Awakening, people are like, I want this like human connection versus just a pretty photo. 100%.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't know, I definitely need to work on that. Not like my Instagram isn't good by any means. I'm like very not paying attention to it as much as I should, but I've gotten that feedback from a few friends recently.
Oh, interesting. Well, I still think it looks very nice.
Oh, thank you. I just try to be like you, Laura.
Oh,
Laura posting.
Yeah, actually, I had a question. I don't know if did we already talk about this? Like, how did you guys reconnect after university? Like, how long was that, and like, how did that happen?
it was like a long time. Well, because we were in the same sorority together.
Was it just like a DM or?
Well, because and we're a few years apart, so like we didn't really know each other in university that well. And then I'm trying to think of like when was the first time we didn't go on a trip together?
No, because you were doing, I think it was last summer. It was only last summer. Holy shit.
That's crazy.
It feels like it's been way longer because we've done so much.
Is that
But when you travel with someone, you literally get to know them so well. Like I feel so comfortable in front of you. Like you almost get a sister relationship when you travel with people, because you just like, you're forced to you get to know every part of them. Like you don't get to know someone better than when you travel with them.
I would have thought you guys were like best friends. Seriously.
Oh no, we didn't even like talk. I was scared I was in university.
Yeah.
Robyn scared me.
I was the president and I was kind of
She was a little intimidating.
Overzealous about my duties.
Yeah. And I was very like laissez. Like I was like, I don't care about it. I was like, I just want to like party. So.
See, if I were to go back, honestly, I would like to do that. Like I would like to just not care and just like look cute in the shirt.
Yeah, but you were very responsible. I mean, I admired you. You were like a boss babe. You've always been a boss. So that's why it's like, I feel like this works now that you're like running your own business and like doing cool stuff. And
well, I definitely thought like if I didn't like be president of my sorority, go to the best business school, do all these things, get the right internships, I was like, I won't be a corporate overlord. Now I'm like, I'm just a hippie. I don't wear shoes.
So you lived in LA for a bit, and obviously you said was it Venice you lived in, or where'd you live?
So I lived like right between Malibu and Santa Monica in a little neighborhood called the Pacific Palisades, which was just like the best.
What was living in LA like? Was it like, did you get pulled into that kind of like
We've been there, by the way.
superficial LA? Yeah.
No, we've been to the Pacific Palisades.
Okay, I'm like, I've been to LA
on the
a
way
few
to
times.
Malibu.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I was like right on the beach. Something that really bothers me is like, especially in Vancouver, whenever I tell someone like, I love LA, they're like, it's just a shithole. Everyone's like a social media person. It's all about being famous, blah, blah, blah. But there's so many like micro communities that are so wildly different throughout Los Angeles. Like our neighborhood was like surfers who just are like really chill, wonderful people. I'd walk around my neighborhood and my neighbors would be like, hi, Robyn. Hi, good morning. Like I've never had someone say hi, good morning to me in Vancouver, like a random on the street. Like,
yeah.
People are so happy there. And I swear it's because of the sun. Like I swear.
Totally. The sun makes you so much happier. It's like,
is that near Pepperdine University? Or am I thinking of a different spot?
That's like in Malibu. Pepperdine's like Malibu. Yeah. But it's the same idea. It's like the same nice coast, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. I felt like when I went there, I was like, I belong. Because I can go to a restaurant and be like, I'm vegan, but like, and they like just really like entertain all of your special like things.
Yeah.
Whereas like you go to New York and you're like, is that vegan? They're like, next, like at the old school New York places. I think what you were going to ask is about the like social media life. I didn't really get pulled into that because that's more like West Hollywood and like Hollywood stuff. And like, I rarely went over there.
That was like when I lived in LA. I lived in the West Hollywood area, and it was 100%. Like I was going out all the time. Like it was super fun. But I see how that would get tiring very quickly.
Yeah, near our house, it was just like, housewives getting lit at Elefante. Like that was kind of it.
But Robyn, as a fellow foodie, you must appreciate the culinary scene in New York, right?
Oh, yes. I love New York. Don't get me wrong. The incident I'm referring to, I was in like an old school Italian pizza shop and there's a huge lineup. And I'm like, excuse me, is that like a spaghetti squash, whatever? Like, is that vegan? And the guy is like, no, next. And like literally like shouted over my head. And I was like, I'm going to go home now. And I left with no pizza.
I would cry. I really don't like when people yell at me. It like really upsets me. I'm like, oh.
I feel like New York might be like the goat of food in general. Like the culinary scene there is insane. Like I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
And like any time of the day, you can get anything you want.
Legit,
like anything. It's incredible.
What countries would you say that like have really good food? Like what's been your favorite countries with the best food?
For eating, it's probably Europe. Also because like my background's European and like I really like that food a lot. So like fresh pasta, of course, pizza.
Because you're part, is your background?
I'm Italian. So I have an Italian passport. Okay, yeah.
I'd love to know, like, so what countries are still on your bucket list, ones you are dying to do, hopefully in 2021?
Oh my God. Okay. Easiest answer, Sri Lanka. I want to go there for like 2 months. Cool. It just looks like, I think Sri Lanka, I hope I'm saying it right, Sri Lanka is the next Bali. Like it just looks so stunning. The surfing there, I'm not a surfer, but like in Bali, it's very crowded because it's so popular and it's such a gorgeous place. So many people want to go, of course. But Sri Lanka seems a little bit more like spaced out. And yeah, I really want to go. That was like I'm supposed to be on a full year trip to Asia this year. And that was like, I dedicated 2 months for that. But alas,
life got in the way. So, so Sri Lanka, and then what are the other two, would you say, are you in your top?
Crap, I don't know. I would really like to go. I've been to France, like Paris is wonderful, but I want to do the south of France in summer and just like be topless by a pool with a drink in my hand all day, every day. That's all I want. Just like,
I love that for you.
And actually probably like Positano or somewhere like that. Yeah. But I watched your videos. It sounds really expensive there.
Yeah. So Positano is amazing, but obviously it's like very expensive. And because we didn't really do that much planning when we went last summer. And so we ended up getting, the hotel we got was super nice, but like it wasn't crazy high end or anything. And it was $700 a night. Like I almost was
$700 a night.
Yeah. And I know it's crazy that we need that, but we're kind of like, okay, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah. Like maybe we won't come back. We only got 2 nights.
But you know what we did was we actually stayed in Positano. A lot of people I know that went to Positano stayed outside and then just carred in.
But stay in Sorrento and then come in.
Laura knows me. I hate driving. Like when I hear about your guys' car trips, like you're just talking about a 3-hour car trip. No, an hour is the most I can spend in a car.
I feel you though. Like it's not fun. Is
5 hours.
But especially because you guys were like primarily there for vacation, right? Like it wasn't like a work trip. Like you want to enjoy yourself. I get that.
Yeah,
like,
that makes it
I get it.
It's a lot different when you're like budgeting for a work trip versus like a vacation. You're like, oh, okay, I'll spend a bit more. But we're doing work trips so often that's like we burn through money so quickly. Like it's crazy to even, like basically you spend all the money you make. So that's always like tough.
But you're kind of like investing in yourself.
Well, that's the thing. Like most businesses, you have to invest in yourself. But I guess it's like, I don't know. Like what's the most or least, I guess you'd say you've ever spent on a trip? Like do you budget a lot?
I actually was really not smart about my budgeting until like the last trip I did last year. Before the trip to the Philippines, I went with you. I don't remember how much I spent though, but I think I gave myself a budget of like $20 a day, not including hotel, because like I wanted to, be comfortable.
That's important.
Yeah. I'm not sure though, to be honest. It's been so long since I've made a travel budget.
Right. And have you ever stayed, because you usually when you travel, you would stay in hostels when you would do your solo female travel. Would you usually do like female only hostels or would you go hotels?
So I like doing female only dorms. I know it's not because I think men are bad or men are evil. I just think like, I just feel more comfortable. Then you can like change and not like, I don't know. I liked staying in all female dorms, and I don't know, it just made me more comfortable. But I have stayed in mixed dorms, like in Japan and stuff like that, and it's totally fine. But like, you do hear some stories. Like, I've heard some stories from some chicks who like I met while I was traveling, who were like, yeah, one night I woke up and this like super drunk guy was just like got in bed with me.
Oh my God.
So it's stuff like that. Like if someone's like really drunk or whatever, but he just got in bed and like fell asleep, and she was like, like, I'm on the top bunk, bud.
Yeah. You're like, no, thank you. Oh my gosh. And would you, so obviously like hostels are quite affordable. What's like the country would you say is the most affordable to travel? Because I think people often wonder that. That's a question I get all the time on my YouTube videos.
I mean, I feel like I haven't traveled as much of the world as I would like, because I'm very guilty. If I go somewhere and I like it, I go back. I like again and again. Like I did that with Bali. I did that with the Philippines because I love them so much. So I just keep going back. So the Philippines is very affordable. I really liked that. Bali can be as affordable or as expensive as you want it to be. If you want to spend a lot of money in Bali, it's there for you. But you can also do it cheap. Like I stayed $15 a night US in a hostel.
Oh, wow.
There. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's what I love about Southeast Asia is it's so cheap. Like you can get so many good deals and it's just like the best time. I honestly think everyone should go to Asia, like post, like either high school or post university.
Also just for like experiencing different cultures. Like I feel like that's the most rewarding part. Like the way we do things in Canada is so different from other countries. I feel like I've learned a lot. Like, I don't know.
I think Asia is probably, I got a way bigger culture shock there than any place I had ever gone in Europe. I feel like a lot of places I had gone in Europe, you know, pretty similar to Canada in a lot of ways. Yeah. Obviously, I don't want to generalize, but in a general, compared to Thailand, like
Southeast Asia, like
that was a crazy. That was way different.
Because the streets are like it's very dirty. Like and I love that. Like I really feel at home in Southeast Asia, but I understand that if you've never gone, like you're really in for a treat. For sure.
My boyfriend Evan right now, he wants to save every dog ever. And like the other day we like almost rescued and like kidnapped someone's dog on the side of the road. I'm like, if you ever go to Asia, like I don't know how you're gonna walk down the block because there's like dogs so and chickens everywhere.
100%. They're freaking everywhere. Like it's just like it's wild.
Remember that one that came up to us when we stopped on the scooters?
Wait, a chicken?
And he was this dog. Oh. He was so friendly. He just ran up and he was like, his tail was going crazy. And then we were gonna stay and like hang out with him, but Laura like pointed up, and I'm like an arachnophobic. I have arachnophobia, and I looked up and there's a spider like as big as my hand, just like. With the wind, like going with the wind in a net,
it's like a rat,
a web.
almost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Getting chills just thinking about it.
That gives me like flashback horror memories of Costa Rica.
Have you ever come across any like really scary bugs?
Yeah, like tarantulas in my bedroom.
Oh,
and like and like scorpions in the shower, and like Costa Rica takes you for a ride.
Yeah. Did both those happen in Costa Rica?
Yes, all of them. I've never seen, because we were there during wet season. I have every time I would get in the shower, I would do a scan. I was like, cockroaches, no. Man. Scorpions, no. Yeah, like there's a scorpion like in my kitchen, like a big one with like the thing.
You're like, no, thank you.
We went to Costa, but
yeah, I feel like I didn't see that many.
If I had heard this story, I probably wouldn't have went.
Yeah, but the jungles of Costa Rica, like they do really have a lot of animals. Like I remember I went to Arenal in Costa Rica, which is like 3 hours from the coast.
Oh, so pretty.
And there was a night hike you could do and go and see the animals. And my friend I was with was like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, yeah, come on, it'll be a good vlog. And she's like, no. Understandably so. But apparently they take a flashlight and show you some crazy stuff. And I would have been down.
I feel like everything in Costa Rica can kill you. Like you go for a hike and it's like death frogs everywhere.
Yeah.
You can look at all the animals except for these like 8 that can kill you.
Yeah.
Geez. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So last question I want to ask you. Well, kind of 2 questions. The first is, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? And like, where do you see the future of YouTube going? Like, do you feel like this is going to be a lifelong thing for you? Or is there something you want to expand into?
It's hard to say like for lifelong, but like I truly feel like I was born to be a travel blogger. Like I know that sounds crazy because that job didn't even exist when I was younger. Like it literally did not exist. But like I love what I do so much. And like I love my little audience that I have, like our little community. Like I reply almost 100% of my comments because I genuinely think it's so like I love my followers. Like they're just the best. And I love making movies. Like I love traveling. I love filming, like the whole thing. There's nothing I like. There's, of course, every job has things that like, you know, aren't the best or you don't like, but if I could pick anything in the world, like it would be this. So I definitely see myself doing the same thing in 5 years, unless for some reason it stops like bringing me joy. And then maybe I'll switch it up. But like for now, like, yeah, if people want to keep hanging out with me on the internet, I'll be here.
That's amazing. No, I love that. And then like, is there any businesses? I know you've told me of a little business you want to get into. You're the queen of peanut butter. You have peanut butter all the time. And I think you need to do it.
Peanut butter.
I need either a peanut butter sponsor or a peanut butter. Oh my God. I wish that.
I think she should create her own peanut butter brand.
You should. I wish I could show you what's in my closet right now. Evan just hoarded me like 6 this large peanut butters. Yeah, I would love to have like a food company would truly be like the dream.
And it would tie in everything together from your food blog to travel vlogging. And
because I'm such a sensitive Sally, like Laura knows this, but like half of my suitcase when I travel is food. Because I like to eat vegan and that can be very challenging in certain countries. Like, yes, you can eat rice, but you have no protein, then you're hungry in 5 minutes. So that's why I always pack so much food. So I don't know, like I would love to do that. That would make me so happy. I'm like, I want to feed the people healthy foods. So that would be awesome.
Robyns Treats. All right. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah. Robyns Treats are
Robyns Treats
coming your way. And if people want to find you, where can they find you on the internet?
Robyn Kimberly, search it up on YouTube, hit subscribe, like, do all the things. And then Robyn Kimb on Instagram, because another chick has Robyn Kimberly handle and she seems really nice. So like,
yeah, you're right. Give it to me.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was so good talking to you. Honestly, thank you so much for being my first podcast interview. I feel better already. I was so nervous to film this.
Oh my God, this is so fun.
It's chill. I was like, I have so many chords. Like there's chords everywhere. It's like, I don't understand audio, but we're learning. So I appreciate you being the guinea pig of this. And yeah, I'm so excited, honestly, to see where you take your YouTube in the future. I feel like you have so many good things on the horizon. And yeah, I look forward to seeing where things go.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I feel so honored to be one of your first guests here. I'm really excited for what's to come in this podcast. I feel like you guys are going to have some really interesting episodes for people who don't really know like the behind the scenes of YouTube. I feel like this is going to be super clutch and like a lot of people are going to tune in. So
totally. Yeah. We're all inside of everything travel blogging, travel influencers.
All the dirty deeds.
The tea is going to be here for sure.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. Cool, bye.
thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.